something that I have enjoyed over the years of preaching to my congregation. Times when I would just take a book of the Bible and just go through it and not get in a hurry about it, just digging for nuggets and just sharing it with the congregation, learning so much as I would go along. We did this in the book of Acts. And it's not like I had never read the book of Acts. I read it many, many times and studied it, the course of Acts in Bible college. But I learned so much in this last time we did the study because we dug into the background, or you might say the backstory. And it's quite fascinating from the time that the church was launched. And you may have heard me say this last week on the broadcast, that I believe that the launching of the church took place as recorded in the second chapter of Acts, there in that upper room, when the Holy Ghost fell with the manifestation of tongues and the fire and the mighty rushing wind, and those who saw it and witnessed it, 3,000 people coming to Christ that day. And then the churches began to grow. The expression was, and God added to the church daily such as should be saved. All of this was happening, and it was happening at kind of a rapid pace. And these apostles, who were now in the ones who were leading the church, they're having to work their way through these things. And there's a lot that had to be sorted through, and a lot of things had to be learned. Things had to be dealt with. And of course, one of those things was the disputes that rose up between the widows of the Greeks and the widows of the Jews. And the Greeks said, we feel like we're being neglected. So thus, the establishment of the 7 deacons, and 6th chapter of the book of Acts. But the thing that really got my attention was as the church began to grow during the times of persecution, and those who had been a part of the church in Jerusalem were now being spread to the outer regions. Pockets of Christianity is springing up. They're establishing churches. Things are happening. Well, in the midst of this, the story we talked about last week, I called it just trying to understand everything that happened here. As I said, that Samaria was a stronghold for the enemy, because that city, from its very inception, had been a place for the worship of idols and false gods and the demonic and all the things that could be happening that would be against the true and the living God. It was happening in Samaria. And this young man, Philip, one of the 7 deacons, felt the call of God to go there. Of all places, he chose to go into the stronghold in Samaria and preach the gospel, and revival happened. It's an amazing story, but yet not impossible, because we know that God is more powerful than all of that. So we'll talk about it this week. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.